we move into the Kharkiv Front, which is the Kharkiv offensive. So in this area here, Russian forces continue their offensive, with fighting being reported over at Veterinane. This one is probably just a fire attack, where the Russian forces attack the border town. So it may not actually be an attack in this way, because there is it's clearly not being reported anymore, only for one day on the 18th of May. So this is just a fire attack. And over at the Lypky sector, the Russian forces continue to try to advance towards Lypky, and they are also fighting in the area of Lukyansk and the southern part of Lukyansk. The Russian forces are struggling to push out in this area here. They are pretty stuck in this area because the Ukrainian forces have sent in a lot of reinforcement into this region here, and they are now holding the defense very well against the Russian forces. So the Russian forces are now not able to break through, but this comes at a cost for the Ukrainians, because as you can see from the frontline changes report and the other previous two frontline changes report, the Kharkiv offensive has achieved what I personally think is the number one objective, which is actually a diversion. So by launching a massive Kharkiv offensive, the Ukrainians have no choice but to react by sending reinforcement and redeploying effective troops to hold back this offensive, to prevent a breakout. Because once there is a breakout, then the Kharkiv region is not an active front line previously, so a breakout may result in a massive loss of land. So the Ukrainians have to plug the hole, and indeed they have went to do exactly that, but at the expense of all the other front line, which is why we have so much frontline changes report, and many of these frontline changes are all in the other front lines. So this is the situation over at the Lypky sector. Over at this Vasily sector, or the Nekushny sector, Ukrainian mapping has considered that the Russians indeed is at Zeleny. However, the Russian forces indeed wasn't able to break into Nekushny or take the entirety of Zeleny. At least according to the Ukrainians. The Russians previously claimed that they have captured it based on Rybar's report on the 10th of May. However, based on Ukrainian mapping, the Russians did not manage to go far from the border. However, shelling is being reported at Vasily in the rear positions at the Nekushny. More shelling is being reported at Malay Vasily on the 19th. So the both are all shelling on the 19th. And further away, there is a geolocation of a Lancet attack hitting a Ukrainian grad launcher over at Berezovsky. And we move on to the next sector, is the Starytsia sector. Over the Starytsia sector, as per mentioned in the frontline changes report, Ukrainians mapping has conceded that the Russians have advanced significantly in this region here at Starytsia and Baka. Russian forces continue to be launching attacks in this area here, capturing most of the northern part of the Seversky Donetsk River. And in the process, the Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Starytsia on the 18th of May, whereas Deep State UA confirmed the capture of Burvaka on the 18th. Previously, the Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture on the 14th, so the Ukrainian side, the Deep State UA, acknowledged and corroborated the information 4 days later. So, however, despite the capture or the announced capture of these locations, fighting continues to be reported. Ukrainian forces are counter-attacking, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, on the 20th of May, which means that it's just recently the Ukrainian forces are counter-attacking, whereas the Russians are actively still trying to push out from this area here, with reports coming from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, Rybar, and Deep State UA. On the Burvaka, the fighting also continues to be reported non-stop by Deep State UA and finally by Rybar. So Russian forces are trying to expand out from this area here, probably trying to hit south of Burvaka, and the Russian forces are also trying to expand out and capture the entirety of Starytsia. Despite the Russian Defense Ministry's report of the capture of Starytsia, there is no indication that the Russian forces have captured Starytsia entirely. This entire area here, no one maps it as under Russian control. So So the Russians are definitely still fighting in the area of Starytsia, trying to capture the rest of it, whereas the Russian Defense Ministry simply made this claim of the capture. We'll definitely continue to wait and see, when it can be corroborated. So tentatively, there is no geolocation to invalidate the Russian claim, the Russian Defense Ministry's claim just yet. So we have to take it with a pinch of salt. No one is disputing it either. They're just saying that fighting is in the area. So if there is dispute, like the situation with the Luhansk below Horivka, then that is a different thing. Then I will have changed this icon into a loud hailer. So anyway, we will continue to monitor the situation over at the Starytsia sector. Over the Vovchansk sector, situation continues to develop in this area here. Russian forces geolocated in multiple locations, especially with these two. Russian forces have expanded their control towards the river. At the Vovchansk River, the crossing over here seems to have been taken by the Russian forces. And with Russian forces geolocated here means that they have expanded control in this area here. In the macro view, we can see that the Ukrainians have also acknowledged that the Russians have captured the entire area here, north of this northern part of Vovchansk and entire western part of Sobana Street. They haven't acknowledged or corroborated the entire Russian claims that the Russians have taken the entirety of the northern part, just minus this peninsula around the Vovchansk River. However, it's pretty close. If you look at the Russian Ukrainian mapping, they have basically given up the huge chunk of this territory and these lands in their mapping, acknowledging Russian control around all this entire area here. However, the situation over at Taikei is weird because the Ukrainian mapping totally believe that this entire area here is under Ukrainian control, and based on the Russian Defense Ministry report, they continue to receive or report on the 18th and 19th that there is fighting reported at Taikei. So we will continue to monitor and see what is this really about. Is it that the Ukrainians are attacking while the Russians are holding Taikei, or is it that the Ukrainians actually have Taikei and they are trying to attack towards Vovchansk? So we will continue to monitor, and we definitely have to wait and see. In the southern part of Vovchansk, there is Lancer attack hitting Ukrainian truck. Further south, just off Vilcha, there is another Russian artillery strike. And further south of that position, there is way more geolocation. Lancer attack on the Ukrainian artillery. Lancer attack on the Ukrainian artillery. Lancer attack on the Ukrainian artillery. Lancer attack on the Ukrainian armored vehicle, armored carrier. So the Lancers are basically operating over time. They are trying to hit all the Ukrainian targets in the rear. So basically, there is no point celebrating on either side. The pro-Russians are claiming that they are trouncing the Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians are claiming that all these Russian orcs attacking and then get themselves killed. The reality is both are killing each other. This war is just a matter of two sides killing each other. They are just trying to see who can kill each other faster and more. So there's no glory in it. It's just killing. They're just killing each other. So that's the reality. So nothing to celebrate about. People are dying. And that's it for this Kharkiv Front. Over the Sumi region, just since we are already here, there is some fire attack on Lotnia, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, on the 18th of May. So nothing significant over there. And shelling is also reported over at Miropolia on the 18th of May. Similar situation. So we'll continue to monitor and see how this develop. Maybe we shall put this. Yeah, we can put this as attack. Sorry, wrong color. I put it as attack so we can keep track of it. And that's it for this area here. There is no Russian incursions from Sumi region to start a new front yet, but it is possible. Seeing the success of the Kharkiv fronts in terms of diversionary capability, they might open another front just to stretch the Ukrainians even more. It is possible, but of course, Sumi is a different place. It may not suit the strategic, situation, in terms of the big arrow moves very well, so they may not want to do it. Over at the southern front,